committee member here, so we'll give it a few more minutes besides me. Thank you, Robin. We do need to give it a few more minutes and see if anyone else is able to join, since this is a planning meeting. Well, Gail mentioned that she might be late and someone else is sick, but that leaves a couple others. So 6:32, let's give it till 6:35, and then you and I will plan, Robin. You're muted, so I can't hear a thing you're saying.
Here.
I said, lots of luck with that.
Why? You're an active participant. You're smart.
I'm a good listener.
You're also a good doer because you came even when you weren't a committee member. You really helped last fall.
You're welcome.
Lori's here. And thank you for the Goddard rep. Eric, hi. Hi, Lori. I think, Jonathan, once we get started, you could pretty much unmute everyone. We're such a small group. And it makes sense. If there's a problem, you know where the mute switch is. So I think that's okay. Lori, we're just giving it till 6:35. It's just a planning meeting for the show, and I need to see if people show up.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm just here to observe.
You're welcome to participate if you have ideas. You're an organizer.
By the way, I decided to not participate in this show because the stuff that I have is winter-y. So I'm going to wait until the fall show.
Okay, yeah, we have one in October. I forget the date. I think it's the first weekend.
Okay.
That makes sense. Your scarves are gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. You should see what my bedroom looks like. It's like, it's full of, bags of cashmere scarves. Ugh.
Funny. Do you get them at thrift stores?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
And I've trained the gift stores to kind of let me know when they have them coming in. So it's great.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, tell me which secret ones you go to. There were so many around me and they were good and they all shut. I like browsing in them.
Yeah, me too. I think it's like the new way to shop, sustainable.
It clearly is. My kid and all of her friends go.
Yep.
My son's girlfriend goes, so it's nice.
Which ones do they go to?
Wherever they are, let's see. That girlfriend has family up in Dedham, Massachusetts. There's a huge one up there that she likes a lot. And here, Second Street is big. It's not really a thrift store in that it's not going to a charity, but things can be cheap, but they just sometimes sell them really raggedy. And Housing Works.
Yeah, Housing Works is great.
Yeah.
And Housing Works has like a thing online now where you can shop the thrift shop online, which is ridiculous, but
It's hard because you can't try anything on or
yeah, you
see
can't try anything on.
or if it's faded or torn I mean, I think they are better judges or vet better than Second Street, but Second Street is everywhere. Um, okay, Peggy is here too, so I guess that gives us a kind of a quorum. But we're not making resolutions anyway. So is Peggy on? And you could unmute Eric and Peggy too. Thanks, John. Okay, so why don't you, I guess it's the 6:36, everyone logged on, patient and on time. So do you want to just do your spiel, please?
Good evening. Welcome. If this is your first time joining us, you'll notice they are currently muted. You will stay muted throughout the meeting, except for co-chairs and presenters. But in this case example, the committee is the presenters for today. Following the presentation, as we move through the agenda, the co-chairs will call on members of the public to wish to speak. You can participate by going to the icon on your device and pressing the raised hand button, not the waves or thumbs up button, as those disappear. Press the raise hand button only once. You press a second time, we'll go back down. If you're calling your phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the co-chairs call on you. The chat is available with technical support only. Do not ask your questions in chat, and if you're asking questions to the co-chairs, they will not be able to see it. If you are using an older version of Zoom, you will need to go to the person section and press the raise hand button there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. Chat room with the technical support.
Thank you, John. Rita's here, but she has no microphone next to her name. Do you know what's
You
up?
might not have fully joined yet. I'm going to see what's going on. Oh, okay.
And you could
Well,
unmute Peggy and Eric. So we
Mhm.
should get started with just planning the show. So last fall we had about 110 people who showed up. This year we had about 110 artists who submitted, but we usually lose about a third on the way to the show. John, have more people been submitting with the extended deadline?
Yes, we have an additional 40 more applicants who I've noticed who have submitted into the submissions for the group 2, and more to add. At least, have I last checked, about maybe 5 more to add?
And that closes Friday, Monday.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
May 5th.
So with about 150, 60, we should have 110 to 130, I'm guessing, show up. So last year we had a lot of people and I thought we were pretty organized because everyone came down to Second Avenue. John, would you make sure that it's very clear in the acceptance letter that they will be checked in starting at 10 on Second Avenue so that we don't have people coming down from Third and setting up tables, and that no one will be able to select their own spots because that just leads to chaos. So I'm thinking that we have the 2 rows next to the curb, and there should be a checker in person on the north side and a checker in person on the south side, and then a couple of people to escort the artists to their tables, and then a couple of people up at the top at Third Avenue to bring them down and make sure that they get online and don't set up their tables. Because people jockey for advantage remarkably. When I get there at 8:30, there are already people sitting there and waiting to get their tables. We set aside maybe space for 6 tables down toward Second Avenue to make it easy for people who have mobility issues. So the bike rack and something else, another obstacle is there on the south side. So we do that on the north side, and maybe a couple of tables on the south side past the bike rack, although that extends up pretty far. I'm thinking if we do have a lot more people than we're used to, we need to go all the way up to third and then start in the middle with tables. And they should, I don't know, and so I'm looking for people who have a better organizational or design sense, but I just want to digress for a second because we also have the kids corner for children's artwork. Some has been submitted. So we'd like to set that up, I think, closer to Third Avenue in a separate group because they don't always stay. And I think for people who are looking for serious art, it's just nice to have the kids in one area and people who want to frequent the kids know where they all are. So we do that, and they'll be up towards third. If we do need tables in the middle between the two tables facing north or south, as the case may be, should the tables be perpendicular and facing east? Or should they be, I was thinking maybe they can be north and south and just alternate, one go facing south and one facing north, so they're pointing in the same direction. Rita, you can unmute Rita. You can unmute Rita and Sahar, and also Eric. Eric, if you want to stay muted, that's fine. You could just click on your microphone again if you'd like. Rita?
I have a question. When you say tables, are you saying that the artists are bringing their tables? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have for years. I mean, we had in the very beginning when we had very few, and it was right before the primary, we were lucky to have use of the tables and chairs, but that hasn't happened. And I was running around with Kevin's predecessor, getting tables from Art and Design High School, getting tables from a church, getting tables from Madison Bid. This is much easier. I think the CB8 table should stay where it's been, which is near the flagpole, which is where the music is, because maybe people expect it. We should have name tags so that people, I think there was a very, very determined veto of the idea of all wearing the same colors. So we'll just have name tags that say that we're on CB8. They don't even have to have our names if you prefer not to, as long as they just say CB8 Arts or something like that. But if we bring people up on one side and up on the other, with someone directing traffic here, someone directing traffic here, and people walking them up the hill towards Third Avenue, I think that helps. We need and someone to check in, two people at the top. So we need at least and we'll need copies of all the names everywhere. John, make sure, please, when you do get people that they give you a real name, not just their business name. We need to have their actual name. And then, so if the tables are laid out like this and we have more artists, should the tables in the middle go like this, or should they go like this and then face this way and then face this way so that they're alternating? You can think about that. We have a few weeks to decide. Does that make sense how we're organizing this? It's how it worked in October, and I think it was pretty efficient. Everyone just lined up on Second Avenue. Some people, as I mentioned, came really early. So what do you guys think?
We'll always get people early because these people know that the earlier they come, the better their spot is. And, they're pros at this more than we are. But tables in the middle, I think, should go parallel to the avenue, because then you have two areas for people to walk around, because unless you want to do a line of tables in the center going straight up, that also gives people the ability from Third Avenue to walk down. So you need a walking space in some place.
So do you mean if these are the two rows of tables, do you mean, and my thumbs are the middle table, do you mean like this? Or do you mean like this? These are the two rows.
These are two rows, right? Two rows. And now the two rows are great, just the way they are.
Right.
Did you envision putting any in the middle of those two rows?
That's what I'm wondering. If we have a lot of artists and they take up more than the space allotted to Third Avenue, then we will have to put them in the middle.
And if you put them in the middle, you have to leave an aisle on either side of them
Right.
for people to get by to see the artist. So therefore, those tables probably should be perpendicular to Third Avenue.
You mean it facing the same way as the tables along the curb? They're parallel to the curb or they're parallel to the avenue?
Parallel to the curb.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll just need to leave a little space in between so people don't need to walk all the way up to Third. The tables along the curbs should be touching, basically. And so we'll maximize the amount of space. Everyone gets a 6-foot table. But and I guess that's what people have because they complained at the indoor show when they were only given 4 feet because we just had a maximum amount of room. Okay.
Sorry,
then-
may I just ask a question? Do we need to have that center row? I mean,
Not unless the tables go all the way up to Third and there are still,
Maybe. The answer is maybe.
so
because it's always so dangerous because people bring their wares, like, there are different items, and if anything touches or anything breaks, then, it just gets a little trickier when people are walking through.
I don't know what else to do. If we have more artists than go from second to third, we have to put them someplace. But I don't think there would be that many at this point. It would be nice to have another close by proximate space, but we just don't. And so,
So two things. I was just thinking if we can leave, like, if you are doing the center aisle, it would obviously, once you have exhausted the sides, right? Like they're all done. So when we're doing it, can we leave gaps in between, like 6
Yeah.
feet, then leave 6 feet and then go 6 feet so that people can move around in between easily? What
Yeah.
about Rupert Park entrance from this road? There is a little bit like around the what do you call it, the circular thing in the middle, rotunda. Can't we put some of those there? Like if you have any extras, can we ask?
oh,
Park?
do you mean that by the flagpole? Or the
Where-
Rupert Park? I'm confused. I don't know where that is.
When you enter Rupert Park, where the bikes are,
Yeah.
there's a door gate there. So if you enter from there, that's where the rotunda is, and we've done concerts there. So there is a lot of space there. If we do like run out of space, do you think that could be a space that we could request Parks that if we can have our artists go in there and then put up their tables there?
Yeah, if we could ask the Parks Department, since you've done this for your group when they use the park to organize, maybe John can make that inquiry if you tell him how to do that.
Sure, sure. John, I'll connect with you offline. And yeah, because I think then we can leave that space and it's green and yeah, okay.
Yeah, how many tables, 6-foot tables, do you think it would hold?
Quite a bit because I mean, if you're doing it corner to corner or like, I don't know, I mean, it will have to be a circular one. I don't know, but I think it's a big place, 8 or 10.
A circular table?
I would say that if you went around the area table to table, the maximum would be 6.
Like if you go into an inner circle of the rotunda, if you're going out the outer side of the rotunda where the fences are, then you could have more. I mean, it all depends if Parks allows it, then
You
we
know,
pile up and
I think that any artist that got relegated off to the side there would be irritated with us. And
Absolutely.
I think everybody should be right on the street. The more the merrier. I think everybody should create that mass of artists all together.
Right.
Yeah,
And we shouldn't take up the sidewalk because it's the only place that we're allowing bikers to walk their bike up or
they
down,
don't,
or
they
people.
riding it up the middle. Unless we have tables in the middle, they just ride. They don't care. Not all of them, but some of them. But the
Put up a sign, say, please walk your bike. And when we
they
do,
don't care. For my journeys to Central Park, they just don't care. My
Into-
family will walk with me through the park because I'm always saying, you're supposed to walk your bike here, it's safer. And I curse at me all day long.
I had good use of that when I had a film, was showing a movie on the street. that people did walk their bike. So it's worth a try.
Okay.
If they say, please walk your bike. If we have a sign that says, please walk your bike, do you, John, can the office make a sign that says, please walk your bike, that would be up at Third Avenue and down at Second Avenue?
I can definitely reach out both to Kevin and Will and see if that's plausible. I'm not sure if we,
A hand
I'm
sign.
not aware if we've done that before, so I want to just confirm with them, of course.
Thank you. If they see obstacles, Rita, maybe they will be conscious and of that and walk of the difficulties and walk their bikes. So we'll need volunteers. I know it's too early now, things come up, but we'll definitely need as many volunteers as we could get. And thank you so much, John, for volunteering. And I know Addison isn't here, but he is also going to be there and helping. The day before, when we roughly lay out the spaces, and we'll have a better idea of how many artists we can hold. I need volunteers for that too. So I plan to go, but we'll need,
I can be there.
great, thank you. Depending on the weather, sometime usually in late afternoon kind of works if that works for everyone, but we could deal with those logistics later.
Alita, I have the entire box of sidewalk chalk.
Oh, thank you, Rita.
So it's yours. I
Thank
don't
you.
know how I'm holding it, but I'm holding it. You're going to need that if you're going to mark the spots. You did a fabulous job last year. And it
Thank
worked.
you. It's also good for the kids because they like to draw on the sidewalk and be like the artists or like the other children who are selling. Okay, so we'll need, again, just because I'm thinking aloud, 2, 4, 5, we'll need at least 7 people. And Sarah Chu's daughter, who has always been enormously helpful, is unavailable this year. So I think we'll be able to get enough volunteers. Is there?
Alida, I wanted to just add that Fahad can come and help and especially bring his camera to take the pictures that he did. He wasn't available last year, but he is available, he said this year. I can connect you directly with him.
Okay, that sounds good. And Peggy will also be looking for your snappy photos of the art show. It's good. So logistically, we'll need at least 7 people. Any other organizing aspects of the show? For music, we have the JREC people, Talented Unlimited High School, the musical theater program are coming at 2:00, which is later than they usually come, but they have a very good reason for that. I have reached out to a band who came previously. They're trying to see, they play in Central Park a lot. They're trying to see what the schedule is like. I've heard some people with a lot of brass instruments at Underground at the Q train on 83rd Street. So I have their cards and need to reach out to them. Otherwise, if anyone has any music ideas, I don't know what our budget is. Just you could contact them directly, see if they're interested and what their budget is. Too bad Rose isn't here. She had such a great voice last year. If you know anyone, that would be great. It could be all types of music. It doesn't really matter as long as it's loud enough and engaging enough.
We
Anything
have a mic, right? We have a mic.
we do, I think we do. Rita knows everything there is to know about the electronics.
What is it? What
Mic. Do we have a mic for people to sing with speakers?
Yeah, we may have 2 speakers, but we definitely have 1 speaker and we have 2 microphones.
Okay.
that operate off that. We are hoping to add another speaker, and we are hoping that 2 speakers will be able to hook up to Brooke's laptop.
Brooke is the teacher from the JREC students, and they play music on the
We're
laptop.
trying.
Thank you, Rita. I know how hard you and John have been working on this, so thank both of you very much. Are we logistically set for the show? We'll do setup in terms of marking on Friday. Someone will need to get balloons. We need to paste the sign. John, you'll somehow need to get flyers because we need to do posting. So our public member, who I don't think is here, Chelsea, said she will
She's
post.
here.
She is here. Okay. Oh, there she is. Okay. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, I will be there.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. You'll be there posting with flyers.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. So we need to do that just the week before, I think. And we'll talk about, because Sahar was really helpful too last year. She and I covered Lexington from about 60th Street up to 96th and 2nd Avenue. And I posted around the Met because I figured all those art lovers might like the crafts. We also got some art people who show in front of the exhibit in front of the Met, and they were very happy to be able to submit their art. Okay, so that's the week before. We'll do flyering, and anyone else who wants to is more than welcome to. In terms of the show, they're coming at 10, so I usually get there around 8:30 to make sure everything is set up. So anyone, I think 9 o'clock is fine. We won't let anyone in until 10 because otherwise it's not fair. And we'll see about the music. And who's coming. I hope some people come. And Chelsea, if you know anyone who plays or anyone else who's here and you know anyone who plays and is interested, we have a very low budget. That would be great. Anything else about the art show that I'm missing? Balloon?
Yeah, what about Chick-fil-A? Is that all set?
Yeah, that's set.
Balloons can be, I could go in and ask Lisa from the card store, which is in our building on 2nd Avenue, for the balloons again, but the store does not open till 10.
That's okay. If we put them up at 10, we'll get people to come in. The artist won't be really ready until 11 anyway, so that would be nice. So if we could get balloons for 3rd Avenue and 2nd Avenue, because now we have artists going pretty far up the street. We had in October. And no walk-ins. If they're not on the list, they cannot come in and they cannot sit up. Political tables, it's before the primary. There was an issue, I think, on our first show where there was a political table for a party or a candidate, and we had to ask them to leave. So they were not allowed to be political. And in terms of walk-ins, it makes it too chaotic, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, so they're not welcome. Chelsea, did you want to say something?
Alita, oh, I'm sorry. Let me just ask you something real quick. If we have walk-ins, can we tell them stand off on the side? And then after everybody is, oh, because we haven't reviewed the art. That's
Well,
why,
we
okay,
have to review the art. We don't have their information. We don't have
right,
contact
okay, forget
information.
it.
They haven't
Okay,
agreed to the terms. We
got
did
it.
it once, but that was a few years ago, and I just don't think it's a great idea. So,
Okay,
and you, John, you could unmute everyone. Everyone is very respectful. Sahar?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the walk-in, I'm sure there are waivers also that Jonathan is getting signed by the artist, right? Like no liability and all of those. I'm sure
Yeah.
so if there's a walk-in, we don't have that, and they might be like giving us trouble if something breaks or anything. But more than that, I wanted to ask that the only thing that I felt like two things last time that I felt like if we could identify was one, I love the fact that we would have some tag showing that we are the community board members so that people can identify and ask for help. But the other thing was like there was like when people were coming in at 11 and forming those queues, it was just taking them a little longer. And I did hear some people say, hey, it took us too long and blah, blah. So I was just wondering if there could be 3 volunteers with the iPads so that 3 of us can do it and it just goes faster. And I'm happy to take people up and make them like, the way I think Robin and I were doing, we were taking them up and showing them the space and like making them go one by one instead of finding their best spot and taking that space. But the 3 of us, if they could get the 2nd Avenue location, I think that would just make it more organized.
Wait, there's some background noise. Emily, is that, oh, you were muted, so I guess it might have been you. Thank you for your patience. That makes sense if we could do that. I'm just trying to picture it in my mind. I'm not basically an organized person, so it's
I would say if we
takes me a
can.
while.
So, Alida, I was thinking if we can just have one of our community boards table there, like a small one, not even big, and 3 of us are standing with like our table cover, like community boards. That way, and each of us have our thing in our hand or the list, however you did it. And then we're just marking, and people would know that you can form 3 queues. And that's where you just go faster with the thing. And there are 3 people at the back who are just taking people up. That way, between the six of us, we can just go very fast. And anyone on the Third Avenue, I think we should have one sign there saying you have to go to the Second Avenue to register. You cannot enter from
That's why
here.
someone needs to actually come down the hill with them because there is a lot of jockeying for preferred spaces and for being with friends or family. And so they could come down the hill, kind of back into a space ahead of all of the people who've been online on Second Avenue. So I think we do need someone to walk. I think the idea of three people is a good one. But I think the idea that we have one person at the north side, one person at the south side, one person in the middle, because people come with a lot of stuff and with carts and suitcases and all kinds of boxes, and it just takes up a lot of room. If we have three people clustered together at the table, I think it will just be too tight. So if we have
Two, maybe two, so that it goes. How many did you have last time? Because I
Yeah,
think
two
whatever number we had, we
more.
have one more than that.
They weren't at a table. If we have the name tag, and John, could you get name tags and a couple markers so that we could make them up
So
for
what we were planning on ordering were like substitute stickers, basically name tags. That helps, so that would assist in that matter. Since
Yeah,
we
just
thought it'd be
anything
easier.
that's like, sorry,
Yeah.
John.
Since we thought it'd just be like easier, just like to use in the moment, compared to like buying name tags,
No, I
having
meant
a sticker.
stickers
Mm,
or
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that will
yeah.
actually stay. It was a problem at the last thing I went to with name tags, sticker name tags. They didn't last for 15 minutes on people's clothes.
Mm.
So just something that really has a stick but doesn't damage anyone's fabric. I just think separating people north and south and in the middle will make it easier so people will know where to go and their boxes and stuff won't clog the area. Um, I don't think we need a table there either, as long as there are identifiable us. That's okay. And we'll set up the CBA table early. Maybe we'll have a banner by then, John, or something. I know that we're doing something different with trying to get a logo, but for now, you're working on something, aren't you?
I'm not involved in that process,
Okay.
so I would not be fully aware of that situation. Um, I do know in our office we do have a banner, of course, currently one we've used last year, so we still have that. I was planning on using that for the event.
That's
Yeah,
good.
just something to put on the table.
People can stand, and if you do you have a stand-up banner as well,
No, I
Jonathan?
don't have that.
Any CB8, like it doesn't even have to be the art show, but at least it's a CB8 banner, which we use. Don't we
I
use
could
it
follow up
with
with Kevin and Will on that, but I can't recall if we have that. Actually, I can't. We had previously had that before.
I don't think so. It was something we talked about with having at street fairs to identify the CBA table, but
Yeah.
I don't know that we
I'll
actually.
follow up with
We,
Will and Kevin on that.
we have a
But
banner,
like,
a hanging banner, and then we have a
yes,
tablecloth banner.
yes.
Okay,
So
the
can we
hanging
hang
banner.
a banner on the post, like from one end to the other, like on the Second Avenue when it's
Yeah,
blocked? Can we hang that and then those two people from our stand there so that people can easily identify and then move them forward?
yeah.
I
And we'll
think
need
we did
enough.
that last year. Didn't we have it on the fence there?
Yeah. But then having people nearby, it's just no one's really fixed in a location, Sahar, because people are coming, they're moving, they stand stationary. I don't know where they go off and look, and the volunteers look for people if they have questions. So, but people have figured it out, and if it takes a while, it just takes a while. You might even mention that in the letter, John, is that check-in can take a while, and we thank them for their patience or something like that. Because it does. It's just that I know you repeat several times in the letter that we're a small group of volunteers. It doesn't hurt to say that a few times because we're not a professional entity. And I'm very grateful to everyone for their vast amounts of time that they've given the shows and set up and running the show. By the end of the day, I practically have to be scraped off the sidewalk and wheeled or pushed home, and then I'm on the sofa for the night. I can't make any plans because it's just it's fun, and it's energetic, but it's tiring. And this way with the name tags too, if people have questions or you guys have questions, it should be easy to find us. and each other. Anything else on the show? Music. We need a little music. So let's work on that. Anything else?
But I have to tell you, this show last year was well beautiful, and it was absolutely seamless.
That's right.
That's
The bathroom, which we've arranged for, or we will arrange for, Alito and I are meeting with management on Thursday, that they allow, and even if people want to leave things overnight, or especially if something is left over for the community board and picked up, the management of my building is very complacent about helping us. Maybe
I'm not sure people should leave things overnight. It raises too many possibilities of liability issues if something goes missing or gets broken. People just, they bring it and they take it, and we don't provide anything, and they have to have someone at their booth if they leave to use a restroom or get a snack.
and there are 3 working restrooms for women and 3 for men.
Wow, that's great.
So it's, there's no lines. I thought it worked just beautifully, and I have to tell you, the street is absolutely magnificent looking. The leaves have just started, and so it will be absolutely beautiful. I have
As long as it doesn't rain, so everyone put your wishing caps on and hope for no rain. Last year we had to cancel it. That's why we had it on a gorgeous day in the fall, because it was, I think, 95 degrees, and that is just too hot. But early in the summer, May should be better. Anything else about the show before we move on to agenda item 2? And thank you everyone for coming and participating in this discussion. And if anyone from the public who's here has any ideas, if you've shown, if you have friends who have, and you have ideas or suggestions, we're always open to that and to trying to make this more efficient, more fun, better attended. So we're always interested. Anything?
Damn, may I just sorry, can I say one thing? Last time when we were doing the thing, there was this one building, when you're going from the second to the third, so it falls on your left side, and it was almost on the Third Avenue. One of the managers, he was like, you can't put your table here, which I think you guys had already taken the permission, but he was like kind of so just was wondering that I'm sure the email had already been sent, he had received a memo, but just kind of bringing that up so that if we have to remind people again and take any permissions from the buildings there. I don't know what the rule and the protocol is. Just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you. Yeah, because I remember that. Rita, you were really good last year at being able to diffuse that. But I
Yeah,
don't-
I went up and I talked to him for at least 3 minutes, and he doesn't on the street. And it just so happens that the co-op people get very antsy. Oh my God, there are people on the street that they don't own. But when we talk to management on Thursday, that one of the things that we will ask is that they inform the personnel in the buildings up the hill that there are going to be people in the gutter, not on their sidewalk, and that will take care of that. That's done.
That's great, Rita.
Thank
We
you.
also, I'll ask everyone to, if, including people from the public, if you are interested in this and could publicize it, that would be great. Our flyer will go out in right after the submissions close on May 5th. We should have the flyers pretty much that week. And if you could post them on social media or hand them out to your friends, your building, whatever, it's good. We just want to build community, build civic engagement, which public art does, by and have it as many people attend as possible.
Alita, when we meet on Thursday with management, we do have something called Building Link, and that is where management can, new residents come in and they have things to sell, and it's on Building Link. We will ask them we have to get it to them early enough so you will. It's something we will discuss, and it's on my punch list, so it'll happen.
Good, thank you. And that's good because there are a lot of people that live there. And I forgot to say in the very beginning that I'm Alita Camp, the chair of the Arts Committee. Thank you all for being here and for participating in this good and useful and productive discussion. Okay, should we move on to agenda item 2? I don't have much about that, which is just an update on the arts funding. It was passed as a resolution, I believe, unanimously at the last full board meeting to support funding for arts education in New York City. So there's 2 levels of funding in New York. One is at the state level, one is at the city level. The state doesn't provide money directly to the schools, or at least this part hasn't. I understand from some of the people who were at presenting at the Joint Arts Committee and Youth Education and Libraries Committee back in March or early April that the state has come to an agreement on money that goes to organizations that then provide people for the school. So they might provide arts teachers and after school programs, have a connection with a community arts organization or a museum where kids can go and take art classes or dance instruction or music instruction at the school, but not part of the everyday. The money does not get funneled through the Department of Education. So I understand that that's been done at the city level, and arts funding in the that was done at the state level. Arts funding in the city is that there's $41 million on the block for arts education funding, but that they're looking to baseline that. And in addition to that, there's $75 million for the same groups that worked with this money from the state to help provide additional arts education for the kids outside of school, regular school time, or they might even have professional artists come in during the day and teach the students. They're just not employees of the Department of Education. So that's where things stand. I hope that our resolution about advocating for arts funding gets some traction, goes someplace, because arts education is really important for children, for civics, for maturity, for mental health, for connections and building community among their classmates. It's a really important thing. It just gets undermined by the focus on the state testing and the budget crunches, and now with the federal government taking back money, we're in more of a budget crunch. So I just wanted to give you that update on where things stand, and that was from Kim Olson, and she works for the New York City Arts and Education Roundtable. Also, Deborah Freeman, who put me in touch with the people for the committee meeting, had a lot to say, including ways in which the public could get active in terms of trying to persuade our elected officials to allocate more money for the arts, or alternatively, not take away money for the arts in schools. And that's my update for that. Any comments or questions? I don't think I could answer your questions, but I'm happy to try. Okay.
Alita, no, I just want to let you know that that the resolution I also posted a chat for reference. So
Oh, I see. Thank you.
make sure everyone's aware of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it passed. It is really important. Thank you, everyone who was at the meeting and voted for that, or was able to attend that joint meeting that we had. Okay, any old business? Any new business?
I would like to thank John. I not took advantage. I thought that the office could help with RY Management has offered to buy us a second speaker because JREC has a lot of kids and we wanted to give them the best possible platform. John had answered Alita's call if anybody had any electronic background. Of course, I only know where to put the plug in for the electricity, and that's it. And even that's an iffy thing. That John answered that call, and I went for advice, and it appears that that is not what the office can do to help with a third party. Because I don't know what Speaker RY should order, and I needed a professional to give them the right thing. I've now gone through a different avenue. But John, thank you. And I'm sorry if it caused you any harm. So,
I echo that.
Fine.
I've seen the conversations between the emails between Rita and John, and there's a lot of time expended by both of you for something to help make the music more hearable and richer and fuller. So thank you both for doing that. Rita, you've gone as usual above and beyond in terms of making it seamless, as you put it, on James Cagney Way.
we'll get it. We'll get it. Dan, it's easier. It seems to be easier every year that we do it. The only thing we can't control is the weather, and it would be nice if the weather we could do that too. But we're a team. We have nothing to do except for this community, and I people were so the exhibitors were so thrilled last year. And I do have one thing, we collect at the table, at the CBA table, we collect people to sign up for emails or whatever notices from the board. Out of curiosity, Alita, you just asked in when we meet and rethink this, is how do we stack up? How many people do we get enrolled on those sheets versus the CB8 booth at the 2nd and 3rd Avenue fairs? It'll be interesting to see, because the 6 years I worked the fairs, and I think we did great. And it would be nice to know if, and people in fairs are not even stopping, because they're going for food, they're going for stuff. So it would be interesting to see how we do.
Yeah, that's a good point, is a comparison. We get a lot of sign-up sheets, but we're very active, both at the table and walking among all the shoppers and the browsers, asking for people to sign up. So we do get a lot, and art increases civic engagement. It makes people more conscious of the community. It increases their interest in participating in community events and understanding what's going on at government levels. So all around, it's good. And we have had a lot of signups. Whether they ultimately unsubscribe, I don't know, but at least they sign up initially.
Can I jump in here, Alita and John? So we much prefer that individuals that want to sign up click on a QR code rather than manually signing on a sheet. Because then somebody in your office, John, has to enter these.
I've been entering most of them.
Okay, so we want to get away from that. John,
Yeah.
is there going to be some kind of flyer on the CBA table that people can just click on the QR code and put their stuff in that way?
I can discuss with our team that idea. So I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I think
QR.
We've done in the past, right? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually want to get away from manually entering data. So clicking on a QR code for the artists, the walkers, the participants is really a much better way to go. And it's just easier, and it cuts down on mistakes. It's not all this manual stuff.
Sorry.
No, I said
It
it,
is
period.
easier. It's just not everyone is as comfortable using QR codes. And sometimes if people are in the street, it's easy for them. I actually ask people to just spell their names and give me their emails because of the inability to read people's handwriting. It seems to be faster often for them. But you know what? We should have both available for whoever can sign up. I think increasing signups is a good thing. But I understand, yes, technology. I would like very much not to have to sit there for a while and enter people's information. So good idea, Robin. Thank you.
Welcome.
You can unmute everyone, John. So
Oh,
Lori,
yeah. Sorry.
thank you, John. Yeah, I know you're working hard at this. Lori?
Okay. All right, so you might have covered this earlier. I'm assuming, and I don't have the flyer right in front of me. Remind me where the first the one we're talking about, the art show we're talking about, is where is it going to be located? Is it in the same place on like 89th Street or 88th Street?
91st. It's James Cagney Way.
91st. Okay. All right. But the October one is going to be inside?
No, the October one should be outside too. We've had some problems inside because we don't, the spaces are, even though the gym at Wagner is the largest gym in the city in a school, it's just not big enough for a lot of artists. We've asked them to take 4-foot tables instead of 6, which got pushed back, and we don't get the same kind of street traffic. It's just really hard to promote when people can't see and they don't know. Outdoors, when the weather is good, they go by, they see the massive tables. It's intriguing. It's attracting. Otherwise, it's much harder. So after, and plus, it's kind of cruel to the exhibitors to make them wait outside in what could be very cold weather with all their stuff. There's just no place for them to put it inside. So this made more sense to have
Okay.
do a.
So does that mean that that the October one is going to be held at the same place outside at
Yes,
James
yes.
Can? Okay. The only
It's
thing
early.
I'm a little concerned about is the wind factor. Like wind has been, however you feel about climate change, it's like every day we wake up and there's these like massive winds, and that's a problem. So anyway,
Yeah. If we had a couple of spaces and could separate people so we had enough room, that could make sense and really publicize the heck out of it. But otherwise, it just didn't work as well. The artists complained about all those things I mentioned, and including lack of foot traffic. But you're right about the wind. So in the acceptance letter, there's a line about bringing covering in case it rains and something to keep the art down. But things on flimsy easels can be a problem.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. And just this is for John. I just am still having problems with getting my phone, which is an iPhone, to show the CB8 calendar. And I really need to get that fixed. So I'm sorry to take up meeting
Totally
time.
fine. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to CC Kevin on that directly
Okay.
with his
That's
profile.
really a problem. And I was thinking that like if I try to attend a meeting on Zoom, I can't even get it. I can't click on it on my phone, so like that's another problem. It's like, anyway. All right. Oh, and last thing, I just want to make an announcement. I'm going to be a grandma.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. Wow.
Thank you.
Which child?
My son,
Oh, great.
is going to have a little mini Alex.
Excellent. And it'll make it much more painful to be in Albany for periods of time. But that's great. Congratulations
Thank you.
for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Gail?
I think we're fortunate to have a really committed group of CB8ers and volunteers on our arts committee. So thank you very much. But I also want to particularly thank both John and Rita. I don't quite agree as far as the role of the office staff as to what they can and cannot do as far as helping the volunteers on committees. I certainly believe that it should be voiced with will and there should be sign off on it. But if I look at this objectively, you have a management company without the expertise to determine what kind of speaker to get, but purchasing one on behalf of CBA. So there's no cost to us for getting that. And to me, it's a donation. You do what you have to do to make sure that you do that outreach and you help them. And I hope that John did not get into trouble for having help, because what you did, I think, happens to be appropriate, and I'm happy to mention that to Valerie. And Rita, you always go 10 extra miles. So thank you for everything that you've done, not only securing the space, but everything that worked so effortlessly is because your fine hand is in it. And I think you should be acknowledged for that.
But I have to tell you, we are very lucky that RY Management is such a wonderful company. We have embraced this instead of looking at it as, oh my God, they're here again.
Exactly.
Now you're here again. Fantastic. So it makes everything much easier. But John, I think John got into a little trouble, and I wrote an apology. I did not know, but now I know. And thank you.
I should follow up with Will too. That was well said, Gail. Thank you. On the note of, again, appreciating the efforts that you and John put into this, it makes a difference to the music and to the event. So thank you. And I think we're really lucky to have the dancers, which is another reason, in the musical theater people, that we hope it doesn't rain, because I don't think they do this on Sundays. So let's hope that we get to go on Saturday. And thank you so much, everyone, for volunteering, for being here, for your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, anything else. You can contact me through the board office. And I hope to see everybody there with bells on, bring in tow family members, new, Lori, and old, and anyone else that you could think of. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, it's only Tuesday, so weekend's not here yet. Have a wonderful week, and thank you.
Thank you. See you Thursday.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need to talk to you, Rita.